monorail tracks lead directly to the real heart of Walt Disney World, the Magic Kingdom. This, of course, is the place that most clearly reflects the man Walt Disney and the things he held to be of value. The wonders of nature, the fantasies of childhood, the spirit of America with nostalgia for the past and faith in the future, and above all, a sense of humor and fun. There is something for everyone in this Magic Kingdom.
No one would have ever guessed that a mouse would launch the most successful entertainment company in the world. Mickey Mouse was Walt Disney's key to success and in return became the symbol of one of the most powerful companies ever. Even more shocking is that one mouse could have such a profound impact on almost every person in a first world country. When Walt Disney World opened on October 1st, 1971, it immediately turned Central Florida from swampland to the busiest vacation destination in the world. 17 to 18 million estimated people walk through Disney's gates each year, with most people spending upwards of a week on property, according to Disney historian Kathy Merlock. This captive audience allows their vacation to be all Disney all the time. The company can pick what you see and what you don't. This takes the distractions of everyday life and prevents them from entering the vacation. This is the way Disney loves it to be. Disney has influence over almost every middle class or higher kid in the U.S., along with other countries around the globe. Children form ideas about the future, past, cultures, and morals on their early trips to Disney World. With each repeat visit, these concepts are solidified further. Yet it is rarely asked if these concepts are the ones we want our children to learn. Is it okay to always have a happy ending, to make generalizations of others' cultures for entertainment, or to promote agendas through family entertainment platforms? These are the questions asked recently by parents and the Disney company alike, along with the company's ever-present competitors. The Disney parks have a great impact on kids' ideas and values as they grow up inside and outside of the park. The values and lessons taught may not always be perfect, but they allow children to learn the world isn't always what it seems like in the safety of childhood. It also creates a great American shared culture of Disney, things all adults can identify with and understand in the same ways. Walt Disney World influences children in three main ways. The parks reinstill the Republican family form through its conservative values and attitudes. These conservative attitudes stem from Walt Disney himself still. It also provides a basic understanding of American history along with the cultures of countries around the world. These views on culture and history help children to wonder more about the world they live in, while they may just be stereotypes and generalizations. Lastly, but most importantly, it imprints a shared experience on all Americans that can be easily recalled upon later in life. Walt Disney was always a man of history. From American history to folktales, Walt took many inspirations from his rides and attractions of the past. Classic attractions such as Tom Sawyer's Island and Big Thunder Mountain Railroad stemmed from tall tales from the frontier. Other areas are more directly inspired by history. The best example of an area's inspiration from history is Main Street, USA. Main Street, USA came directly from Walt's past, his hometown of Marceline, Missouri. Of course, no turn-of-the-century small town could possibly be as perfect as Main Street, USA. Same way, the frontier wasn't Indians and frontiersmen living together in harmony, like Frontierland shows. It seems the history is cleaned up, so that we may fantasize about the ideal past. Any racism, anger, or political issues are simply not mentioned. This ideal version of reality is nothing new for Disney World. It's actually the core of the parks. Since the parks were originally created by movie workers, the parks naturally became a fantasy of real life. This allows the Imagineers to take out any part of history that may be controversial, and just not included in the area or attraction. Disney analysis Freitag claims young children at Disney World can form positive views on Americans' past through this watered-down history. Patriotism is often an emotion felt by guests on Main Street or walking through Liberty Square. Family values, such as strong family units, a duty to nation, and the hope of the American dream are highlighted in almost every land of the Magic Kingdom. A strong base of American history can be instilled in children from just 1 or 2 visits to the Magic Kingdom. The same can be said for all the countries of World Showcase. These countries are presented in the same ways as American history, providing a quick and simple generalization of each nation. While the countries are staffed by representatives from each respective country, the way in which they are presented to the guest is still extremely general. World cultures can be learned from a few visits to Epcot, and whether this is a positive or negative thing is in each guest's view. While Disney very clearly teaches guests about the past, they also do a great job teaching them about the future. Tomorrowland in the Magic Kingdom is one example of educating about the future. While Tomorrowland is based off the 1950s future that never was, it still inspires the imagination with hope for the future. Classic attractions such as the Wedway People Mover and the Carousel of Progress continue to hold educational value, and the attractions Space Mountain and the Astro Orbiter spark our minds with imagery of a future we still may have. Calling on sci-fi imagery and whimsical building designs, this land of the future never leaves a guest without a dream and a hope in their minds and hearts. Tomorrowland has been fueling the flame of tomorrow for more than 45 years, but it is not the only land of the future nearby. Across the property, Future World and Epcot creates a much clearer and realistic image of the near future. Former Disney Imagineer Mark Aids says Epcot shows how free enterprise could help shape the future while displaying future technologies in an edutainment format. Even in this futuristic theme, the conservative ideas of free enterprise sneaks its way into the conversation. Test Track and Mission Space show off the extreme limits of technology today, while the land and the seas teach guests about how technology will help keep our planet working smoothly. These attractions provide today's technology a way to show the guests what can and should be accomplished in the near future. These rides also highlight industry's role in forming while funding the future we can all hope for. According to Disney Imagineer Joe Rohde, both Tomorrowland and Future World create a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy in which many ideas or concepts first tried in Disney attractions have made their ways into everyday use. It is common for Disney Imagineers to cite Epcot as a sort of their passion for technology and career aspirations. This focus on the future not only inspires generation after generation, but can lead to future careers and inventions. The standards of a Disney park are extremely high, as it has the reputation of being the best vacation destination in the world. Expectations of the guest are more important than anywhere else, and the avid Disney guest becomes accustomed to a high level of service. These expectations are also carried home with guests after their vacations. This leads to Disney becoming the bar in one's life, with all other entertainment and themed attractions being compared to the Disney standard. By always wanting Disney quality products, American entertainment as a whole must work harder to emulate Disney. In this manner, all of the country is improving itself, becoming more developed, imaginative, and educational. Another perk of a country ruled by Disney park standards is that all adults have a shared childhood experience, values, and lessons they can call upon later in life. Lessons taught by Mickey and Minnie can be passed down as parenting advice. Ideas showcased at Epcot can inspire an innovation firm. The Hall of Presidents can spark a career in history for a young child. Often adults will still cite visits to Disney World as children one of their favorite experiences of their childhood. No company has as great an impact on American lives as the Walt Disney Company. Disney parks are cultural pilgrimages that stay with us much longer than just childhood, as Disney historian Kathy Merlock writes in her book on the influence of Disney parks on our youth. Educational values, along with excellent storytelling and theming, has allowed Walt Disney World to inspire and form tomorrow's great leaders. Scholars of history have been modeled by Disney storytelling in the same manner. Even if a career isn't sparked under the influence of a Disney park, each and every guest walks away with something they will hold close to themselves for the rest of their lives. A true cultural sensation, Walt Disney World has earned its place in American pop culture. Visits to Disney parks are an important aspect of American culture, and an aspect that's not going away anytime soon. The Disneyization of society. Disney culture can be seen every day, no matter where on the globe you look. This takeover of a subculture into pop culture allows the Disney brand to become ever-influencing company. Alan Bryman has worked for the Disney Company before and was in public relations, studying the best ways to have the most people hear the company's name. The way Disney is in our day-to-day lives and the impact it has on the world is developed in this source. It's the perfect free marketing strategy for the company, but some argue it has become too much too quickly. When Hollywood was right, how movie stars, studio moguls, and big business remade American politics. The coalition of Hollywood movie production elites after World War II to promote conservative values in the 1950s and 60s is the focus of this source. Critchlow is a political scientist who has taught at many respected universities over the years. Anti-communist sentiment and family values dominated both the back rooms and the big screen. Big names such as Walt Disney, the Warner Brothers, and Universal Studios headed up this value-based movement. Seen as a revival of the golden age of Hollywood, this source explains the impact of the film business on the public's views and thoughts. The impact of Hollywood is soon carried to Anaheim and Orlando in Disney's theme parks, and Walt's conservative views are still prominent in his parks. Critical theme parks. Dismaland, Disney, and the politics of theming. The political agenda of Walt Disney and the ways it snuck into his work is explored in this source. Walt Disney is a right-wing anti-communist at the helm of a children's entertainment company. Scholars and parents alike criticize how conservative values are the only ones highlighted in Disney productions and parks. This source explains the racism that may have been within the company and to what extent that affected the company. The minimal impact of these claims are also studied, as any smaller company would easily succumb to slander such as this. Lastly, the rules of how to correctly theme an area at a Disney park are explained. These processes have been perfected over the last half-century and are quite obvious to spot once you take a step back and examine the themed lands of the Disney parks. Power in Paradise in Walt Disney's World. In this book, the reasons behind Disney's ultra-effective theming and influence is explored. Kathy Merlock has been studying Disney's business model and the impact it has had on Central Florida for over 20 years. She addresses not only the structure of the company itself, she also looks at how things are presented in Walt Disney World bleeds outside the park as well. This source shows the effect of Disney values on children's views of the world for the rest of their lives, a concern for Disney and parents alike. Take a frown, turn it upside down, Splash Mountain. The controversial Disney film Song of the South and its attraction counterpart are examined in this source. Song of the South was pulled from the public shortly after World War II on racist terms. A stain on Disney's name, however, was reimagined into one of the most beloved attractions in Splash Mountain. The ride, with its iconic songs from the film itself, is based off of the non-viewable film. The process in which Disney corrected their previous mistake and the techniques used to blind the public from viewing or remembering Song of the South are explained in this source. Critics of Disney often jump to Splash Mountain as their key example, very understandably.